Thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to interview you here at NATO Capital Summit. Kind of raised. I'm from Mexico, so it's really cool for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine.
Swear I am.
If you're in trouble.
I thought that this morning by turning my car. I was like scraping the ice. I was like, oh, no, we're not kids anymore. No, but I'm really excited to chat with you. I know it's great that you're here to lead one of the pitchers from the Hill Capital event. And so
Yeah.
I love pitching. Have you done the pitch before?
I have. Yes.
Okay, so great. Not the first day.
No.
But it's kind of the radar.
It is. It is. It's always a great chance to talk about, the business, the vision, and create awareness. And more importantly, to have people come up afterwards and go, my company needs that, which we hear so much. Yeah.
The best part in the spotlight to
Yeah.
and this is funny being one of the sponsors that are they raising capital or are they going to invest in you or is this simply an awareness campaign?
Yeah, no, this is simply awareness. I would say we're probably courting for a future raise. At least that's my perception. You'll have to see.
It's always
Yeah.
with future money, whether it's client or investing.
Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. Well, great. So I have some really well questions I'll ask you. So I'm going to start more about you.
Okay.
So, and my first one is kind of understandable. If you're a movie buff, but me and my family, it's how we wind down at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So if your company was a movie,
Yeah.
what movie would it be and what actor would play you?
So I think the movie is Working Girl. So going a bit old school, but that idea of being, scrappy, breaking down paradigms, it's time to do things different and that profound talent exists everywhere within an organization if we just really give it a shot. But also the existence of toxic or ineffective leaders and cultures that reward the wrong behavior, that encapsulates and having someone who breaks through that noise. So then, of course, Melanie Griffith has to be my actress. Nice to upscale in looks and all of that too, but obviously she won an Academy Award.
So I guess I need to learn more about your company. So, let's figure it out. Give me your pitch or your pitch.
My 30-second one line or the full pitch I'm doing today?
Is that minutes?
3 minutes.
I have 3 minutes.
Okay, yes, good. So Heather Polivka, founder of Awesome People Leaders, we create emotionally intelligent and high-performing workplaces in real time, in less time, and in the flow of work using neuroscience and AI. So many of us have had that work experience that just sucked the life out of us, a team, a boss, a company where values were just pretty words on the website. I had that experience earlier in my career where my husband said, could you please find another job? Because the person coming home at night is not the person leaving in the morning. And that's the kind of toll it takes on us. And unfortunately, we've treated in the workspace that culture and toxic or ineffective leaders and employee disengagement are like 3 separate issues, but they're really all interrelated. And so the solutions have been siloed and largely ineffective until our solution. So we're really bringing emotional intelligence development, real-time application, and real-time culture reinforcement right in the flow of work at a very personalized level, but scalable level. So we're a holistic integrated solution. And I like to think why now? Well, first of all, AI gives us the capability to do something highly personalized yet scalable. But also AI really is changing how we work, but it's not changing why we work or how we feel when we interact with each other. And in fact, in an AI world where a lot of mundane tasks or busy work gets, handled, it's actually the uniquely human capabilities that are going to become much more valuable and much more critical to the success of an organization. So those who lean into it will be the ones that outperform their peers. And so our vision is, what if awesome companies and awesome work experiences were the norm and not the exception? What if I can be a really high performer and join a company and get what I expected, but even more so be developed and nourished and thrive? And then the company gets to retain great talent, unleash their human capabilities, retain institutional knowledge, innovate, delight customers, and outperform. So that's really our vision, is a world of awesome companies. And what we're doing is fulfilling on just that. Our clients, we sell on a B2B SaaS model, and they've already reported 6-point increase in productivity, 11% reduction in HR escalation issues just inside of 6 months. So we have already doubled our revenue from last year. And so our next thing today, our AI solution works with Outlook and G Suite, and we're working on evolving to Slack and Teams, and also obviously scaling our AI solution. So we're here looking for meeting companies that are between 50 and 500 employees that are in STEM, sales or consulting. But also, this is my first time. I didn't intend to be a founder. So I'm hoping to meet people here that have scaled SaaS or workforce solutions before and can help us do that, because we're up for not just helping companies perform better, but actually be better for the talent that drives them.
About that. And you really hit the emotional trigger for me. And you said, like, make it more than form. I just went right back to my relationship with Amazon. Like, wow, that's right. Talking about burning both ends, the candlesticks, and like, you're just a battery.
Yeah.
And so I didn't go full circle on all transparency. I ran companies that way too. And so changing out like tires, we have places to be.
Yeah.
I'm trying to raise our B round. So that's incredible what you're doing, man. And I like that's proactive as well. I started a career in HR. So like the idea of people are kind of everything. It comes back to my favorite staying is like, what happens if, we invest all this money in people and they leave when the way it works, moving gold next day.
Exactly. And unfortunately, especially right now, that's what a lot of people are doing because of the uncertainty in the ecosystem. They're like, well, I don't want to be here, but I'm going to hunker down and do the bare minimum. So it's negatively impacting, productivity, performance, client experience.
Just enough not to get fired.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right around Tell we have about 350 employees, and I'm constantly trying to figure out what everyone's doing, how they're doing, because I will always going to be conscious of the decisions that I make, right? From top down, like how, like someone, not to say perceives me. I'm not a politician.
Right.
However, I want them to be like, oh, who is the person I want to work for? Because I support the decisions they make, and that he asks me how I'm doing. Like, oh, how are you doing?
Yeah.
This sounds really cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool. And no, I get to split that whole conversation.
Yeah.
We're going to build that for the full episode. Okay. I'm going to have you back on the full podcast.
We love that.
So we can dive into that whole entire thing.
Yes.
But in a reality where this is consuming you, this is your world, right? You probably dream about it. I do. I dream of a boat next to my bed so I can roll out, because my wife jokes that I solve problems in my sleep. Yeah. Right. I'm like, oh, we'll figure that out. I'll have a coffee with her.
There's actually neuroscience behind that. And we know that because obviously we incorporate neuroscience, but yes.
At best, I'm just a sales guy. At best. Well, tell me, you weren't doing this. You weren't breathing that every day. What would happen, what was the ultimate reality for you?
Well, it's an interesting question because while I'm a first-time founder, I clearly have a few miles under my belt. So I've done the whole corporate climb the ladder, got the title, all the things. And so I'm actually doing what I want to do right now. I want to impact small and mid-sized businesses. I want to make a difference. And so I always knew at some point, my mom was an entrepreneur. My grandfather was an entrepreneur. I always knew at some point I was going to do that. And I went to corporate and got a lot of great experience and actually got a lot of great stories that validate the work that we do. So if I weren't doing that, I'm actually really good at planning women's wine trips to different regions around the world. I've done it several times. I even have a wine suitcase, and so do my girls. So I would probably start yet another business. I actually have a name, Swish and Swanky.
Swish and Swanky?
Yeah. I love. So that's probably my next, once I exit success.
So that being tipsy and travel is your alternate reality.
Quality wine and great people.
So we have so many things in common. So I really love to start a retreat for founders. And so we're trying to do our first one next year.
Amazing.
It's because You do need to get outside.
Yeah.
What's a better way to do than drink good wine and see pretty places?
Exactly.
And like,
Exactly.
sign me up for it.
Yeah.
I want to go on your wine trip. I'm there.
Okay.
It's so stuff.
Perfect.
Well, one thing that we get into as entrepreneurs is we oftentimes, whether you like it or not, when you run a company, you're influencing people.
Yeah.
And I always, there are two sides to this. When people say they don't like how I do things, I always encourage them to start their own company, do their own thing.
Yeah.
Right. But I also encourage them to always like learn from the way I do things. Like I'm an example, whether I want to be or not.
Yeah.
It's our role. So when you're looking at what you're doing, and someone's like, I'd like to experience the Heather life. I want a new scale SaaS model. Like, what is your advice to someone? Man, but it's different for you too, because you came from the closed model.
Yeah.
Like I have been horrible at listening to people forever. I never should have learned for anybody. Yeah. So I really make it that far.
Yeah.
For you, look, what is that advice for someone who maybe they're living the corporate torture right now? Like, man, I want to be my own boss. As I always say, I want to be the idiot I listen to.
Yeah.
What's your advice for me?
Well, first of all, I think there can be a misconception that owning your own business, like, oh, the freedom, it's so great. I had one go, it must be so nice to be in control of your schedule. And I'm like, what I say to them is I've never worked harder in my life, and I worked a ton in corporate. So I've never worked harder in my life, but I also never been more fulfilled. That this journey is the hardest thing. And and it's a reality, as much as people, talk about and are challenged by imposter syndrome in corporate, you will never deal with yourself and your own conversations when it comes to perceptions about money and personal value and all that kind of stuff. You will never deal with yourself more than you will as an entrepreneur, because oftentimes it's our own conversations that are inhibiting our next breakthrough. So I'm like, if you're up for that, working harder than you work in corporate and dealing with your stuff, then yeah, check it out.
The worst thoughts, like the worst thoughts I ever have is for you.
Yeah.
I love that because, one thing that I've experienced is that, I started removing business. Like I won't be in charge of me. Like I wouldn't be charged on hours. And then we realized that, wow, you're really not. It's an illusion, right? It can be. But that's like what I've been trying to really focus on with me then, right? To heal the end. Like founders often beat our heads against the wall and things. And like you definitely relate to this. Sometimes we can get outside of our problems. Sometimes we're trying to solve something so much. And that's where I get to like my final question. This is, what is your hobby? It can be your hobby. That's cheating. It's easy to say in my tongue, but what is your hobby? Like, what do you do for fun that's not this company?
Yeah. I would say it also shows up in this company, but I really like creating community and connection. So, for example, we have a whole pool day community, and we open up our house very regularly over the summer, and we have a whole group of people who come, and we have community meals. And what's great is that during COVID, but also during the winter months, this community now checks in on each other and how they're doing. And it's just people that we've brought together. And so that's what I would say I love to do. That fills my cup, is creating connection and community. So that can show up in the pool days. I actually do have women's wine nights, cooking clubs, but it's really all about community and connection. Yeah.
And you said it well, and you have to have something that fills your cup.
Yeah.
Right. And so wonderful, Heather. It's such a pleasure. I'm really excited to do a full episode with you of like 45 minutes unrushed. So looking forward to that. Thank you again for taking time to help capital and speak with me.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching The Faces. Entrepreneurs are people too. Please like, subscribe, and follow us on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Spotify so you do not miss any of our content, just like today. We really appreciate you being one of our viewers, and see you soon.